When it comes to Artificers, the thing that sets them apart from all the other classes is their use of infusions and all the things that infusions can do for them and their party. Let's talk about those today. Hey fellow Game Masters, I'm Richard Quiner and welcome back to the RPG Daily, your daily dose of all things tabletop role-playing games, helping you build your world and master your game. And today we're talking about the Artificer. We're continuing the series, learning more about this class and all the cool stuff it can do, and we're talking about infusions. So as I'm going through this list of infusions available, let me know which one piques your interest the most. What stands out to you as the coolest infusion for the Artificer? A couple of the basic rules of infusions. There is a table in the character building guide for Artificer that has a set number of infusions that you are able to know, and a set number of items that you're able to infuse per day when you infuse items. So the higher level Artificer you have, the more infusions and more items you can infuse are available to you. After a long rest, you can infuse items with magic, however many are available to you, but the stipulation is one item can only hold one infusion, and one infusion can only be used on one item. So you can't have two items with the same infusion, and you can't have one item with multiple infusions. It just doesn't work that way. Also, as we go through this list, you'll note that I'm pointing out some prerequisites. These are requirements that the Artificer or the item might have in order for the effect to take place. Oftentimes the items require attunement, which means they have to be carried or worn by the player or the character using them. Other times an Artificer level might be required or a specific type of item for this infusion to work. Now, we've got a lot of infusions to go over. So first up, we're talking about Boots of Winding Path. The requirements for this is you have to be a 6th level Artificer, and you have to put them on some boots, and this will require attunement from whoever's going to use them. How these boots work are as a bonus action, a character that is wearing them may teleport 15 feet to an unoccupied space. The rule about this unoccupied space, though, is the character would have had to have been in that space previously in this same turn. So it's kind of like a tool you can use to run towards something and then blink away in an instant to get away from them. Next up is Enhanced Arcane Focus. This will enhance the spellcasting abilities of anybody who uses it. All this requires is the item be a staff or a wand, and it has to be attuned to the character who is using it. What you get here is the wielder gets a +1 bonus to their spell attack rolls, and they can ignore half cover if an enemy is in half cover. Also, this bonus goes up to 2 at level 10. Next up is Enhanced Defense, and this item is going to need to be a suit of armor or a shield, and it will give a +1 armor class to whoever is using it at the time, and the bonus goes up to a +2 at level 10. Next up is Enhanced Weapon, which can be any simple or martial weapon, again giving a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls, again giving a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls to whoever is wielding the weapon, and that bonus goes up to a +2 at levels 10. Next up is a bit more complicated infusion. It's called the Homunculus Servant. A homunculus is kind of an artificial creature that just sort of lives. All you need to do is have a gem of some sort that is worth about 100 gold, and you need to be a 6th level Artificer to cast this. When you infuse the gem with the Homunculus Servant, it becomes the heart of a servant creature that is then formed around it, and the creature can look like whatever you want it to look like, but it does have some rules for combat that it can participate in, and essentially you have a familiar or a simple companion that can follow you around and help out. Next is the Radiant Weapon, and this is a 6th level Artificer infusion. It will require a simple or martial weapon, and this will need an attunement from whoever is going to wield it. The baseline is you get a +1 bonus to your attack and damage rolls with this weapon, but also as a bonus action you can use this weapon to create a 30-foot radius sphere of bright light with more dim light beyond that. That's just as a bonus action, but even more, this weapon comes with 4 charges. Each of these charges can then be spent as a reaction when you're hit from an attacker to blind the attacker that just hit you. At the end of the day, or I should say at dawn, this weapon recharges 1d4 of those spent charges. Next is Repeating Shot. This requires a simple or martial weapon that needs ammunition. So we're talking about crossbows, anything like that that uses ammunition. This first up, of course, gives you the +1 to your attack rolls and damage rolls with that weapon. But more importantly, this removes the loading stipulation on some of these weapons. So such as a crossbow, you would be able to keep firing it without having to take the time to load it, because through magic of your tinkering, this weapon now creates its own ammunition. Next, you have Replicate Magic Item, and this allows you to recreate any magic item on a list that is provided in the book. There are different requirements and level requirements and item requirements for each of the magic items listed, but this gives you a great chance to duplicate a magic item, give more party members certain magic items as they might need. It's just a good way to do things, and it's a pretty long list of items that you can actually make. Next, we have Repulsion Shield, which is a 6th level Artificer ability and requires a shield as the item. The base bonus is a +1 to your armor class to whoever is wielding the shield, but this shield also comes with 4 charges that can be spent as a reaction when you get hit from an attack. If you spend this and react this way, it will push the attacker back 15 feet from you, and again, this shield regains 1d4 charges every morning at dawn. Next up is Resistant Armor, which requires 6th level Artificer, a suit of armor, and it will require some attunement. This armor works by giving you resistance to a certain type of damage, any type of damage that you want, but you must pick the type of damage at the moment of infusing the armor. This would work really good if you're stuck in a place that has a certain type of theme going on. Perhaps you're in a lava pit and there's a lot of fire damage around you. This could come in really handy for that once you get past the attunement part of it. That's why it's kind of neat. And the last infusion is the Returning Weapon. This requires a simple or martial weapon with the thrown property, so something you can throw at someone, such as a dagger or a javelin. This automatically gives you a +1 to the attack and damage rolls of that weapon, but in addition, whenever you throw the weapon, it will return to your hand immediately afterwards. So you basically can just keep throwing this dagger and it keeps returning back to you. It's real slick in that way. Those are the basic infusions for the Artificer. Because it is Dungeons and Dragons, of course, you could probably talk to your Dungeon Master and make up some other infusions for your own projects as you would like. I think that's a good thing to do, personally. Anyways, I hope you liked this video. I've been Richard. Thanks for watching.